What's your answer to these two questions? Number one, in general, how is your physical health? And number two, in general, how is your mental or emotional health? We have the answers from a brand new study that focused on an important group in America, moms. What researchers found? Next, I'm Jenna, and this is Smarter News. Well, this study, like many, has a really fancy name: Trends and Disparities in Maternal Self-Reported Mental and Physical Health. Let's translate for just a moment here. How are American moms feeling about their bodies and their minds? Researchers said that many studies have focused on maternal health, women who are pregnant and shortly before or shortly after giving birth, but they wanted to provide insight on what happens to a mom while she's raising her children. How does she feel? So they took a subset of data from a broader study where respondents answered some key questions over the course of several years from 2016 to 2023. And they compared results during this period, asking parents how they feel physically and mentally. In general, how is your physical health? And in general, how is your mental or emotional health? And you could answer the question easily one of 5 ways: excellent, very good, good, fair, or poor. I said parents, by the way, because although the study looked at mothers with children 0 to 17 years old, the researchers did take a look at fathers for comparison, and we're going to talk about it. But mainly the focus was on the 198,000 plus moms who actually responded, which, if you extrapolate out, represents approximately 42 million Americans. Now, one caveat to this is this study is self-reported, so no one is assessing these respondents on accuracy. This is simply how they feel. So here's what researchers found. Mental health significantly declined for moms during this period. The number of those reporting excellent mental health dropped, and in parallel, the number of respondents reporting good or fair or poor mental health rose. So a big decline in those who felt like they had excellent mental health, and an increase in those who said they had good, fair, or poor mental health. This was not the same with physical health. Yes, those who responded that they had excellent physical health in 2016 also declined over the years, but the physical assessments did not vary as drastically as the mental and emotional declines. A few interesting points to consider here as I was reading through the results. Yes, it is true this study spans the pandemic, and that would sort of provide a reason, right? Oh, well, the pandemic was such a difficult time. This is why we're seeing declines in mental health. But researchers say the shift on mental health originated prior to the pandemic, and you can actually see it on the charts. You can see that the decline starts almost immediately from 2016 to 2017 and just continues to go lower. Also, this happened broadly across socioeconomic and racial lines. It is true that there are those that have less education and likely are less employed, and this group did feel mental stress more, according to the research, but the declines were felt broadly. Also, age seemed to have an inverse impact on physical and mental health. Those older said they didn't feel as physically good, but those younger said they didn't feel as mentally good. And the study also made a specific reference to moms of preschool age kids. And that subset did have a higher rating of fair or poor mental health. For any parent who's gone through that period, it is a tough period of that toddler to just before school age. What about fathers, though? So briefly, the study touches on dads. And what does it say? Yes, there were some declines from those saying they were in excellent physical and mental health, and some increases in fair or poor health during the pandemic. But in general, this is a quote, male parents had better physical and health status and substantially better mental health status during all years studied, with researchers writing, quote, we found consistently worse health status among mothers compared to fathers, particularly for fair and poor mental health, which was reported by 1 in 12 female parents compared to 1 in 22 male parents. Why is that? Researchers didn't provide an answer. There were no answers provided, but they did say they wanted to study what the reason might be. They did give some leading theories on a list, and that list included limited access to mental health care, social isolation, rising substance use disorders, broader stressors such as inflation, income inequality, racism, gun violence, climate change, and for those younger, exposure to social media during adolescence. That could also be a factor. Why do you think there is such a difference between moms and dads? Is your answer on that list? I bet we could add a few more. One big takeaway for me is this line where researchers say they believe their findings support claims that maternal mortality, so women dying while pregnant or during or shortly after childbirth, may be a quote, canary in the coal mine for women's health more broadly. Something is happening with American mothers. That's the bottom line. Broadly, spread out, and familiar dividing lines we may hear about in the news: race, religion, region, wealth, weight, your physical health doesn't explain it away. It's not that those things are not a factor or could be variables, but from this research, this mental health decline is impacting all moms, a decline in self-reported mental health. So what's happening and why is it happening now? What do you think? I want to hear your answers. I don't need your full name, just your first name, maybe a voice memo you could send from your phone. You could just jot me a quick text. It really doesn't matter. You don't need to put your birth date, your social security number. I just want to know a little bit of what you think about this, because it does show something's happening, but why is it happening is an entirely different question. You can email me hello@smarternews.com, and I'd love to share some of your thoughts next week, because the problem for the moms, as we all know, is a problem for everyone: the kids, the spouses, the culture overall. So what's happening and why is it happening? It gives us a lot to think about. Thank you for your support of quick, concise, nonpartisan, smarter news. I'm Jenna. Have a great weekend.